We thought we have seen the last of the Suzuki Hayabusa when it was discontinued in 2019. But it's back from the grave, stronger, technologically advanced, and arguably better looking. We have the third generation Suzuki Hayabusa. The very iconic shape of the Hayabusa gives it an aerodynamic body, allowing it to have the best drag coefficient in motorcycles. For 2022, the Hayabusa finally gets a sophisticated electronic package such as the IMU, elevating its status as a next-generation motorcycle. Power and torque has also been improved in the mid-range, giving it stronger low-end grunt, making the Hayabusa much more fun to ride. This third-generation Busa is now faster to accelerate than previous-gen Hayabusas, despite the decrease in headline figures to meet the Euro 5 standards. But for us to truly appreciate the Hayabusa, we must travel back in time to an era defined by the technological rivalry between the Japanese brands, to an exciting time when Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Suzuki were trying to outdo one another to make the fastest motorcycle in the world, during the era called the Speed Wars. The first to pull the trigger was Honda when it launched the 1984 Honda Vf-1000r, which was meant to showcase the technology it has developed in the racetrack with its V4 double overhead cam 16-valve engine. It was also the fastest production motorcycle in the world at 240 km per hour. But Honda could not even keep its ground for more than 1 year, because of the launch of the very iconic motorcycle from Kawasaki in 1984, the Kawasaki Gtz-900R. Yes, it's that Kawasaki bike used by Tom Cruise in the movie Top Gun. The Gtz-900R is the very first Kawasaki to have the Ninja badge and was conceptualized and developed for 6 years in secret, like a ninja. In 1986, Suzuki beat Kawasaki with its GSX-R 1100, which is both a sports bike and an endurance bike, heavily based on a GSX-R 750. It was the fastest bike at 257 km per hour, thanks to its great weight reduction and use of oil cooling system called SAX, eliminating the need for water pump, fan, and coolant. Honda will try to regain its short-lived reign as the fastest motorcycle with the CBR 1000F Hurricane, launched in 1987 with a top speed of 264 km per hour. This bike did not have any radically new characteristics, but was at the time the most powerful liter bike with improved aerodynamics for top speed. The CBR 1000F was also the first Honda to use link brakes to link the front and rear brakes to provide improved stopping performance. Kawasaki was riding Honda really hard. When there's a new Honda, there's a new Kawasaki to one-up the competition. In 1998, Kawasaki needed a strong bike to follow through the massively popular Gtz-900R and eclipse the Honda yet again. The answer was the 1988 Kawasaki Tomcat ZX-10. It featured Kawasaki's first perimeter aluminum frame chassis that has been widely used in all Kawasaki's bikes since then. The Tomcat improved on the GP900R's engine with new semi-downdraft CV carburetors, lighter pistons, bigger valves, and an altered compression ratio. The result was a liquid-cooled DOHC engine inline 4-cylinder that reaches 266 km per hour. At number 5 is the Yamaha FZR-1000. The FZR brought Yamaha to the forefront of superbike design when it was launched in 1987. It has a top speed of 269 km per hour and was considered the bike of the decade because of its superb handling. It was the top dog in its time. The engine was enlarged to 1002cc and added an electronically operated exhaust valve whose acronym led to the bike being universally known as the FZR XUP. The Bimota YB6 XUP was regarded as the most powerful and best handling motorcycle of the late 80s. But the Bimota is actually a Yamaha FZR-1000 in disguise. Bimota uses the transverse 4-cylinder powerhouse that it borrowed from the Yamaha, matching this engine to a new twin-spar aluminum frame, Marzocchi adjustable telescopic forks, Marzocchi monoshock rear suspension, and Brembo brakes with dual front discs and a single rear disc. This makes the Bimota the fastest motorcycle at 270 km per hour. The 80s saw only incremental additions in top speed, but one bike changed this game. It was 13 km per hour, much faster than the previous fastest bike, and getting closer to the 300 km per hour milestone. We have the 1990 Kawasaki Zx11, which aims to end the speed war once and for all. Just look at this eerie initial test rides in 1990. The Zx11 was the first Kawasaki bike with the ram air system. Aerodynamics was also improved with 10% less total drag than the ZX-10. With a top speed of 283 km per hour, motorcycles are starting to get really scary. But before we go to the top 2, please support my channel Spectre Moto and hit the subscribe button for more top 10 motorcycle lists like this. Finally, Honda will have its revenge on Kawasaki. This time, Honda will be the one stealing the throne from Kawasaki as the fastest production motorcycle on the planet. This motorcycle was named after the stealth spy plane, the Lockheed S-71 Blackbird. In 1996, Honda has introduced CBR 1100 XX Super Blackbird. Long names aside, the Blackbird was the fastest motorcycle in the world at 290 km per hour. The Blackbird was powered by an 1100cc inline-4 engine that produces 164 horsepower and 125 Nm of torque. These power figures cannot be tamed at the time, but Honda was successful in spreading this out across the rev range. The Blackbird has a double personality, being an outright hooligan machine, but at the same time being a comfortable touring bike. For years, it has held the Guinness Book of World Records title as the fastest motorcycle on the planet. The first generation Hayabusa arrived in 1999, followed by the second generation Hayabusa in 2008. The Hayabusa was designed to crash records and become the first production bike to break the wall of 300 km per hour. The first generation Hayabusa broke this barrier, not by a foot, but by a mile, reaching never before recorded speeds of 312 kilometers per hour. The Hayabusa is fitted with a 1300cc inline-4 engine with 173 horsepower and 135 Nm of torque. But it's not just about this big leap in outright performance. It is also about the overall balance and rideability of the Hayabusa that sets it apart. Because of this, everybody wanted to buy a Hayabusa. The Hayabusa ran so fast that it has prompted European regulators and companies to warn Japanese manufacturers that they would outright ban high-speed motorcycles if they don't stop this motorcycle speed wars. Driven by a strong sense of honor, the Japanese manufacturers met with one another and entered into a gentleman's agreement that no motorcycles will ever be produced that would exceed 300 kilometers per hour. This unofficial, undocumented handshake agreement finally ended the 2-decade-long quest to make the fastest motorcycles on the planet. And there was one motorcycle which soared much higher above the rest, the peregrine falcon, the Hayabusa. Fast forward to 2021, Suzuki stuck with the gentleman's agreement and loses to the likes of BMW S1000r, MV Agusta F4, and Kawasaki H2R for the top speed crown. But that's not why you would buy a Hayabusa in 2021. It is to celebrate the legacy of pure motorcycle competition and pay homage to the 1980s to 1990s speed wars. I hope you like my take on the all-new generation Hayabusa. Please hit like and subscribe to my channel. This is Spectre Moto. Thank you guys and see you on our next ride.